Hi, everyone. I'm Gold Derby News and Features Editor Ray Richmond, and I'm welcoming Tom Campbell, executive producer of RuPaul's Drag Race, to our PGA Awards Meet the Nominees panel. Tom, I'm going to sound like a skipping CD here. That's the new broken record. But your show
Okay.
just won three more Emmys in January, bringing the show's total to 29, I believe. You're going for your fifth PGA award. What is it about this show that the TV Academy and the PGA so seem to adore?
Uh, Grateful for all those awards, your kind words. I mean, the three things that pop to my mind is there is a sense of joy with RuPaul's Drag Race, and I'll say selfishly as producers of it, and I've been there since the beginning. And Randy and Fenton, who run World of Wonder, have known RuPaul since the late '80s, and there we laugh every day. We have fun making the show. It's filled with joy, and I think that shows. From a production point of view, we do try to outdo ourselves every year and we try to make it fresh and there's a variety to our show that a lot of other shows have formats that are the same every week, and we're doing a match game parody, we're doing a musical, we're doing a fashion show. At all different changes, but it really comes down to the queens, the contestants. We've been doing this show in my Facebook memories. Yeah, I'm still on Facebook. It said today, it was my post to my 10 followers, my Aunt Hazel, saying, don't you wish there was a show about drag queens like Project Runway and Top Model? Well, there is. It's Drag Race, and it premieres, February 2nd on Logo and Logo Online. So it's been a long time. And the queens, it's generations of queens now, and they come to us from the clubs, from the street, from different economic backgrounds and racial backgrounds, and they bring an authenticity and a drive that is just, I think, irresistible.
And oh my God, Tom, Logo, that was two networks ago for you guys. Uh, and I'm on excuse me, I'm on Facebook as well. And I was on AOL until not that long ago. So we're all old.
Yeah.
The show itself, though, Tom, is actually symbolic, I think, of this indomitable spirit of drag queen competitors who appear on it. I mean, you've survived COVID, you've survived political demonization. Now here you are in season 16. What's the longevity secret for this show?
Like I said, I think we're always trying to outdo ourselves. And what's nice and most people who come to the show and the senior members, they stay. And it reminds me, I worked at HBO a long time ago and I ended up moving, but my friend Carolyn Strauss and Chris, they all stayed. And I think there's something great about being able to like learn from your mistakes, to have like this largely the same group of people and learning and changing and growing. And we are, we think about the show 24/7 year round, everything, because drag samples pop culture. Drag queens are the best at that. We're all year long, we're texting and talking about, oh my God, this would be a great challenge, or some crazy underwater or something would be a great mini challenge. So we're constantly trying to improve it. But again, it really comes down to the queens and their stories. As much as we'd like to take credit for, creating the canvas and the frame, the queens are the ones who bring their talent, their charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent, their magic and their stories, which just are so heartwarming.
I think my favorite part of the show are Tom, are the lip syncs and the backstories of the queens. I mean, the show is really this perfect blend of entertaining and inspiring, and I think that's a big, as you've already alluded to, a big part of the secret.
Theron, who works at our show forever, and he's the head of talent. And he is now, he's not as old as me, but he like is obsessed with TikTok. He's like my teenage son, although he's not. And he says Drag Race is TikTok because every 2 minutes something changes, a mood changes. It's incredibly dramatic. It's incredibly ridiculous. You can't believe you're seeing it. It's aesthetically beautiful. It blows you away. It's dirty. It's funny. It's punny. So we just we started off, like I said in my Facebook thing, thinking it's Project Runway meets Top Model, but it's become, and it continues to, it becomes what the queens are and so much more.
But it's the perfect niche show, but it's not niche. It's mass appeal. It feels niche, but it's mass. How did this become mass appeal?
I'm not mass, so I don't know, but like it's funny, and I've told you this before, but when we pitched this 16 years ago, World of Wonder was hot. We knew people in charge. We were going to sell the show. RuPaul's back. RuPaul's the most charming pitch in a room, as you can imagine. And we went to all of the, I'm trying not to name them, but all the the big players in cable television that were really big back then, and they took the pitch and they loved it and they were our friends, and we even had shows on their networks, and they lean over and say, you know, we can't bring this to our ad sales guys. And when we finally set it up at Logo at the time, and bear with me, it's like we were like, Logo, like we're on Logo, and it turns out that it's the best place we could be. It was like an estuary. It was a place where we were the biggest show on the smallest network. And I also, you know, this is a history of people that know each other in Hollywood, but like Brian Graydon, who was the head of MTV for a long time and yielded a lot of power, he was able, you know, 15, 16, 20 years ago to convince cable operators, which are some of the most conservative human beings on the face of the earth, to carry a lesbian and gay logo cable channel in 50 or 60% of the country, which was not enough, but it cracked open the door. And you know, Drag Race came out before streaming. Streaming came, and more people found out about it. So it's like every good, great underground thing from culture, gay thing. It's like a club you haven't heard of. It's like voguing. It's like things that Drag Race bubbled up. It became sort of the secret that people found. And I must say, all of our celebrity guests, and we've had some amazing ones, including Ariana Grande this last season, they're fans of the show. They watch it. You know, I also credit the hair and makeup teams who are largely queer in Hollywood, because I think they turn on a lot of celebrities or had in the past to the magic of Drag Race.
Brian Graydon, who gave the world South Park and gave the world that Spirit of Christmas original holiday card too, as I recall.
Genius.
You just mentioned Ariana Grande. Who that's famous besides that, Tom, might surprise us to be fans of Drag Race?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna blank. It's we had Rick Fox, and John Sally, basketball players who were like really into it. And it's everyone. There's someone who's on this year, I can't say because we filmed, who's an old Hollywood name, who is and she came on, and she's a friend of Rue's, and she, you know, we had Debbie Reynolds on years and years ago, and she broke into the control room no one else had, and she goes, I'm Debbie Reynolds, I'm Princess Leia's mother, I'm Carrie Fisher's mother. She made herself known, you know, she's like 4 foot nothing, and she said, is an executive producer going to tell me what to do, or should I rely on my 60 years of experience in entertainment? But we fell in love with her, and she was relating on the panel, like, from an MGM star from the studio system, Singing in the Rain, Debbie Reynolds was relating to drag queens because wigs, makeup, lip sync. That's what she was doing, you know, for her career and her musicals. And she also talked about how her and her makeup man in the 50s she would do Marlena Dietrich, and he would be Rosemary Clooney in some crazy duet that exists in the world. So, you know, drag is a long-standing tradition.
But as you know, Tom, you know, we're living in this perilous time where, you know, where drag queens are now the most dangerous and threatening people on earth, at least according to the Republican Party. I mean,
No, it's crazy.
Anti-drag bills in Congress. What do you think? Why do you think queens have become, I mean, symbols of this moral decay to these people, when in fact the opposite is really true?
It's just the same old thing, and it's. I wish we could say it's over, and you know, when we started Drag Race, George Bush was in office. When they started to catch on, Obama was in office, and marriage equality. You thought, oh my God, we're past this, and naive because the pendulum swings back and forth. Interestingly, this past season that aired fully, when we shot it, there really wasn't this legislation. Things happened so quickly. We shot it in the summer, and we came up with a musical called Wig Loose, which we just liked because it was a bad pun. It was footloose, wig loose. And it was all about a town that it made drag illegal. And in the 8 months between when we shot it and when it aired this past season, those threats and legal and you know, legislation for anti-drag and knocking down were real. So it's a never-ending battle. I don't want to be whiny about it, but it's just,
No,
drag queens are bright and shiny objects, and they're easy to put down, but it's bullshit.
I know I would defy anyone actually to watch this show and not come away moved and raving
Right.
about how loving and positive it is, rather than, you know, how drag queens are somehow coming for your children, which I know you feel the same way.
Absolutely.
What's the best thing about working with RuPaul?
Laughter. Making RuPaul laugh is our job. Like we you know, we set up certain things, and he's wise. He is a guru. And my personal opinion about it, because it's not, that is part of the show too. It's like, and I think why Rue wins so often is because he's not just mentoring, he's not just, you know, hosting, he's not just graphic copying, he's not just wearing amazing gowns, he's not just writing songs every season and dancing. He is like in the trenches with those queens. He knows what they've been through. And, you know, everybody say love. If you can't love somebody yourself, how are you going to love somebody else? All these things have been part of Rue's vernacular. It's like Dolly Parton. He's been saying the same thing for 30 years because it still matters. And I also think, in my humble opinion, spiritual people become spiritual because they're walking away from darkness. You know, they're trying to, and I feel like, not that Rue's a dark person, but I think he has his own demons, which he talks about. He talks about how every morning when he wakes up, his tail has grown back and he has to sort of like chop it back off again. So what the contestants are going through in you know, at 25 or whatever age they are, RuPaul has been through that and come out the other side. And yet we still have a daily, you know, a daily grind to like find our light and find our purpose and find community and strengthen each other. And that's what the show, it sounds crazy that that's what the show does, but it is about the tenacity of the human spirit, this little crazy drag show.
Absolutely. We're going to wrap there, Tom. Good luck to you at the upcoming PGA Awards. RuPaul's Drag Race airs on MTV. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.